Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Research Roadshow. This is going to be the first of a 4-part series, really quick, 4 7-minute videos to provide a basis, an introduction to propaganda, especially during the 1980s and 1990s, how it worked up until then, without the AIs that everyone's talking about. I just want to focus today on the topic of a drone that can accelerate at 50 Gs. Because back in 1990, a Navy pilot, young, 25 or 26 years old, said that he saw a UFO and that it decelerated and then accelerated at 50 G. And there's no way that any aircraft designed by human beings could achieve such performance. Well, I'm going to prove him wrong right now. And then tomorrow, I'm going to explain why a lot of people thought that he was right, that it could not have been done by humans, and how a lot of government, of taxpayer money was used to divide people across geographic and political lines using the various videos shot of this aircraft. So here we have, now keep in mind that this was possible back in the late 1940s or at the limit, or early 1950s. We have here a aircraft that weighs 2,000 pounds, and its only function is to accelerate or decelerate. There is no pilot, there's no cargo. It's just pure motors and a few LEDs in the back. The aircraft weighs 2,000 pounds, and here's the trick. It's flying at low speed or hovering, steady state, with the LEDs off. These are feasible motors. They're high power density motors, 11 kilowatts per kilogram, and they are producing just enough force. Well, they're producing their maximum force in hover, 40,000 pounds on the two. Well, actually, there's hundreds of these little things, but for demonstrative purposes, illustrative purposes, the two on the top are producing 40,000 pounds each, and the two on the bottom are producing 39,000 pounds each in a downward direction. So the difference is just enough to keep the aircraft stable in hover. So then I tilt all 4 motors backward, and what happens? I get a very high acceleration, right? I can do this with a couple of my engineering buddies back in Boeing for 5 college age, college seniors in aerospace, and a bunch of freshmen or high school seniors. This is not a hard thing to produce. So you can imagine with the materials that they had back in the early 50s, advanced titanium, things like that. Then we could have produced a much more capable vehicle. And I'm sure that they had something that would function like LED. I don't know if they had LEDs at the time, but this kind of aircraft that could accelerate and decelerate at 50 Gs was possible already by 1954, if not earlier. The difficult part, the expensive part, is not in the aircraft itself. That might cost, 2 or 3 billion to pull it off. The hard part is in getting the 6 photographers. First of all, the Navy pilot. You have to make sure you have a young Navy pilot flying the jet at that night. And then you have to have 6 filmographers with varying qualities. One has a $500 camera and the other has a $50,000 camera. You have to have 6 filmographers, hopefully all airborne in some way. And at least one of them has to be Russian and one of them has to be Chinese. Then you begin the expensive part. Then you begin the 20-year process, spending 10, $20 billion per year to convince people that it didn't exist, that it existed, but it was the Russians who did it. That's when the propaganda begins. But getting the aircraft up and flying, you already said, John, you're full of it. Getting the aircraft up and flying with some LEDs in the back, that's pretty easy. That we can do. We've had that technology for a long time. Before I end this stream, I want to please ask everybody, please send me your questions. If anything presented here is not clear, and in the upcoming 4 or 5 episodes, make me do my job, make my collaborators and colleagues at Research Roadshow do our job. It is very important that we help people around us to understand how mind control works and how much money is actually going into it. So please, the primary email is research.roadshow.5@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and hopefully the part 2 of this series will be a better production quality. Good night, everybody.